need you to teach me.
Teach you what, Jessica?
Well, what you all do.
You're saying you want me to teach you magic?
Yes.
Jessica, as much as I am thankful for your supporting words back there, if you were a witch, you would have noticed earlier in your life. There's a moment where we all find our spark. You're 17. Usually that comes much earlier.
So, I'll never be able to do what you do?
Jessica, you do amazing things. Don't anyone ever try to tell you otherwise. You don't need what we do to make a change in the world. I mean, look at us. We've failed miserably here, regardless of our years of study. You are good as you are, my girl. And she walks up and sees Eli in the door as well, and then goes in to hug you, Jessica. I just wish that we could have taught you other things a lot more before this happened.
Virgo, make a perception check.
Bitch!
Wow! That co-DMs are up.
Natural 20!
Whoa! Show.
When you embrace Jessica, you put your hand in the nape of your neck. And you never felt a dedication or sort of force on an untrained human like this before. It's almost like through her emotions or the change in her demeanor of Jessica, a small current sort of tries to synchronize with her heartbeat, but is still finding its way there.
I angrily turn around and I look at Eli and I say, this is all your fault. I don't trust you anymore. You've betrayed this house. I don't need your magic, your healing, or whatever. Stay out of my way and watch me bring Maru back.
Eli, make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, those sharp words are attacking you.
That is a 11.
You get pushed back 5 feet as suddenly as she says this, it's and it's nothing damage worthy, but you are just being almost resisted 5 feet from where Jessica is standing.
Okay, for the people that are not seeing this, we're all paralyzed and in shock.
John is like in his chair, like.
Virgo, you
cast
feel
detect magic.
You see that Jessica could never have produced this on her own. This is definitely because you were embracing her, and she could have never produced this without you currently touching her as a conductor.
Jessica, come here for a moment.
Why?
Trust me. And she takes from her writing desk, there's a small pedestal with a small orb in it, a pearl, it seems. And she places it gently in your hand. Just close your eyes.
Can I close it?
Think of yourself as a receptor, a vessel of sorts. Nothing else. Just do it.
Like my sword? Like a blade?
Like a cup.
Okay.
And it takes a moment, but then after a number of seconds, this pearloid orb, quite small, starts to glow. And you feel a rush of energy go through you, tingling to your spines and to your head, and then a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's very strange to you. And Virgo, and as you open your eyes, Virgo is smiling towards you, touches your face and says, I take back what I said. And you now have 1 spell slot.
Oh.
What the fuck?
No spells to cast yet, but you have a spell slot, certainly. So, Ruddy, as you climb up the stairs behind the secret wall in Maru's room, seemingly with an arcane signal of Virgo's making. You climb up and, perhaps expecting a dusty crawl space, instead you enter a small, though not uncomfortable, study of sorts. It's a very, very small space, as it's the top of the tower, which on the east wing, which you thought, as everyone thought, didn't have a room, was just filled brick. As you see here, there are many documents stacked in piles across the surface of a little desk in this here tiny attic. There's a glass cabinet to the side of the room containing all sorts of knickknacks, and there's a chair and one tiny round window that lets in just a little bit of autumn sunlight from outside. Very inconspicuous and nothing else. So you have the desk with a lot of stuff on it in the middle, and then a cabinet.
Do I recognize the way it is ordered to be Maru's doing?
Very clearly, it is alphabetically ordered, stacked papers. There's a lot of documents on here.
All right.
The cabinet catches your attention though, as it's rather different than what you're used to from Maru. It doesn't have any useful objects per se, or documents or books. It only has these strange knickknacks and a jewelry box.
I walk to the cabinet and take a look at the knickknacks and carefully open the jewelry box.
So as you look around at these knickknacks, most of these things you've no idea what they are. They're tiny sculptures, perhaps, of all sort of different cultures. And one thing that catches your attention is a student badge of the Pale Academy, which you knew that Maru was a student at for the longest of times. And as you open the jewelry box quietly, you notice that there are a number of strange items in it. You see a hand-me-down hairbrush that used to belong to Jessica, given to Maru a long time ago. There is a dried hydrangea flower, which you assume must be Eli's, as he keeps a collection of these things. There is a badge of an old orphan school, which you assume must be Oliver's, as he threw it in anger at a wall once, quite a while ago. There's a ring, which you remember as well, which was kindly forced upon Maru after Vanity insisted on taking her on a shopping spree not too long ago. And then finally, there's a wooden carving, only slightly resembling a chicken, a birthday gift from you to Maru.
I remember it fondly. I remember making it outside. It was perfect, and I gave it to Maru, and I remember that moment. And now I put it back in my pocket and take it with me. I turn around and I decide to take the others up here and turn around and go back down the ladder.
So as you head down, you come down to the base floor, the ground floor, and notice there's some elated laughter coming from Virgo's room, which is not what you expected. So the door swings open, Jessica and Eli, and Vanity, you hear this as well, from Margot's room, as does Margot, as Ruddy just barges in. Let's not make any rash conclusions yet, but might be a good sign.
Tell me.
Jessica learned that she has a slight affinity to magic, but it's slight.
You're a witch?
I know!
Oh, that is... Oh, what?
Vanity picks up her bucket and moves to, just goes check out what's happening, and she's taking sips of it as she's going. She's like, oh my God, what's happening?
She's a witch!
I'm a witch!
What? How did this happen? And do you do it? You don't seem to be doing any magic.
It is a slight affinity, a spark of sorts that I felt in Jessica. She doesn't know any spells, but there might be a possibility that you could learn some in the future. It requires rigorous study, however, Jessica, be aware of that. Margot, you look at this scene as you come in, and you're very happy for Jessica, I presume. But then as you look at Ruddy, there's something clearly on the tip of her tongue.
So she ushers in a little bit inside and she goes, hello, Ruddy?
Yeah.
Did you get the spirits? We're kind of losing temperature.
I forgot. But wait. Okay, so listen. When I walked past Maru's room, I just went in, and then there was this bird, and all this stuff just broken and shit. And then so it was a bit like shoved to the side, and there was a thing you could push. And then I just climbed. Yeah, there was a door, and I climbed up like the stairs and stuff.
You see Virgo kind of reach her hand to her mouth, and then just as she holds it away, she's kind of laughing, and she says, I didn't think we'd find it.
Well,
Wait, what are you talking about?
Find what?
Maru and I, we talked a lot about how we needed some quiet, and she was doing so much around the house. I wanted to help her in a sense, so I manufactured a fabricate spell, a scroll for her to use, so that I would not know where her alone space would be, but she could choose whatever she wanted to make. I knew it was somewhere in the house. I just think we wouldn't have never found it. She was always so good at hiding these things.
Wait, why don't I get a secret room?
You? How about me?
Listen, it doesn't matter. Maru just needed some space every once in a while. She'd been holed up in the Pill Academy for years when Ratio was running the city during the Great War.
And what was in the space?
like stuff with, you should just come with me. It's
Sure, why not?
Yeah, so for the sake of brevity, you'll go up, excited to see what's in here, though a little bit melancholic. You retrieve the spirits, which Margot takes to use for the ritual, which she quickly does. It's not a long process per se. And at that moment, you'll go up to Maru's personal attic. You again, the rest of you haven't seen this. It is again a quite a small, dusty room, a small attic. And again, there's a desk in the center on which stands piles and piles of document neatly ordered, a small chair which has nothing on it, and a cabinet full of knickknacks.
Look, Jessica, come over here.
Yeah? Oh, that's my brush.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my old hairbrush. I can't believe she kept it.
I can't believe she stored the ring. It was supposed for her to wear it. There's a reason we buy jewelry. It's to wear it.
Eli, being more silent than usual, you do recognize the dried flower that you once gave to Maru. But you do notice
A suede notebook with a leather ribbon to tie it close, and it's put in between a pile of documents, almost like stuffed away. Do you take it?
Yes, I do.
So as you take it neatly from the pile, you open it up, and it seems to be a journal of sorts.
What is that?
You saw, by the way, that as you flick through it, judging by the ink, the last page is relatively new.
What is that?
I guess a journal of some kind.
Maru's journal.
It would be rude to read it, so I will not do so.
I guess.
You saw, by the way, that as you flick through it, judging by the ink, the last page is relatively new.
Read it.
Do it.
I'll
Jessica,
take the
do
book. But while I'm taking the book, I want to... You know what? I'm not even going to hide it. I'm going to take the ring.
What?
For keepsakes. I might need it.
For what?
I don't know.
Jessica, I don't mean to be rude, but if your plan is to somehow bring her back, then maybe don't fuck with her stuff.
I am keeping it just to keep it safe. Can I just have a piece of her for me?
Yeah, take your comb back.
Not the comb. I just need a ring for a reason. You don't tell me what to do.
Jessica seems
Jessica?
very adamant as she's holding the silver ring in her hands.
First of all, you don't know how to accessorize well. So you're just gonna put this ring on with an unmatching and unfit garment. She's gonna ruin the whole aesthetic of the ring.
Plus, Jessica's color is so gold, not silver.
Exactly!
Well, then I'm gonna put it on a golden chain around my neck.
What?
I'm keeping the ring. And I'm gonna read off this damn book, and don't you dare come for me, because I can push you too like I did that bitch.
As soon as Jessica says this, I'm gonna cast command on her and tell her
I
to
walk up to Eli and I grab him by his collar and I'm like, you don't get to do that.
Okay, so what happens is, this has no incantation. Command is a single word. So Eli just shouts through the thing, return! Ruddy, you then try to grasp Eli, but it's too cramped in this room. So as you move forward, you kind of lose your footing and you gently rub off on the table as a lot of the papers go on the ground and the diary falls open.
You do see the seriousness in Ruddy's face, however, as Ruddy just keeps staring at you.
Vanity picks up the notebook that fell on the floor.
As you look towards it,
I pick up.
a map part of northern Doran and southern Montclair falls out with an X somewhere to the east of the Lavorne mansion, near the fine line, with one of the most recent journal entries. You pick it up, Vanity?
Yes. I try to see if there's something written about this map.
Does anyone else do anything? Do you
I mean, they're all in
Jessica's
consultation.
very...
I am just watching Eli.
So as everyone falls silent for a bit, you read the chapter, and it reads, I am close. I'm sure of it. My prized possessions seem to be stored closer than I thought. I can't believe that after almost 20 years, the Empire banned books still exist, even if locked up. Valric was very helpful in my endeavor. Luckily, Elberian merchants can tell you anything for a bit of coin. I'm especially elated to have learned that Marchesas' first edition prints are still holed up in that place as well. Perhaps my copy of it is still in that vault. And then you see a note underneath it that says, the following volumes were tracked. One is a book written by Doretta Bosk by the name of Physics of the First Age of Artifice. The second is one by Genuine Letterus, which is Modri Folktales. And Modri you know to be the very small ethnic group that Maru belonged to, which we sometimes refer to as tieflings. And then the last book is one which catches your eye, Vanity, as it is written by Marcessus of Nice. But that isn't what catches your eye. It is the fact that it's called Through the Veil of Life and Back.
Oh my god, I just got like goosebumps.
Vanity kind of immediately sobers up. she like drops the bucket. This is it. This must be it. This must be the solution we've been looking for.
There's also one more, even more recent entry, and it's smaller. It says, I've changed my mind. My previous outburst of enthusiasm was unrealistically gauging the risks at hand. I'm afraid I'll have to play this through Valric further, because I can't go in the vault alone. I couldn't possibly tell the others. They'd choose to come along with me, and I'd hate to put them in that kind of danger for me.
Maru was hiding something from us. She was going to retrieve some prized possessions. These books that she was going to retrieve is by the Marcessus of Nice. and it's called Through the Veil of Life. And back.
And what does that mean?
And back, Jessica, and back.
If anything, maybe there's a clue here, but she was worried to tell all of us because it apparently was dangerous. I don't know if we should tell Virgo and Margot.
It's a classic Margot.
Should we tell Virgo and Margot about this?
No, of course we can't tell them. They don't trust us.
By the way, this book is not in her possession. The diary notes how it's a banned book that was banned during the Great War, and it's been taken from her along with these other 2 books and put in what she describes as something of a vault.
So this is just the journal. I have the map.
Do I know anything about this vault at all?
Roll me a history check with disadvantage. If Virgo would have been in the room and you said, Maru's been keeping secrets, she would have fucking exploded. Everyone's keeping secrets, motherfucker!
I know.
This family is alive!
That's an 8.
An 8? You have no idea there's no name specifically, there's just the vault, or a vault that she mentions, and regarding banned books, but you have no idea what specifically this would be, no.
No, you do know of the practice of banning books. It happened at the annexation of Doran, and the first things that they actually did, Alberia annexed Doran, and they banned most Doranese religions, actually all of them.
Yeah, you would know that you have one such banned book in your possession, which is that of the what are now called patron saints of Doran.
Should we... So we shouldn't tell Virgo and Margot?
We shouldn't. We can't.
Virgo rolled a 7 on her perception check, by the way.
Thank
So she
God.
didn't care.
We
No
can't.
idea.
We gotta do this ourselves.
But there's this person named
Valeric, which seems to be a Alberian merchant.
an Alberian
Val-
merchant named Valeric,
Val.
who was in touch with
Do I know him?
No, you have no idea.
Okay.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yes, I skimmed through the book to try and see mentions of Valeric.
Okay. So you find rather quickly that about 2 months ago, Maru started contacting this person called Valeric, which is an Alberian silk trader, who apparently knew a little too much of certain Alberian practices and had spent some time in prison in Orzon. And when he got out, Maru contacted him, and apparently he gave her information, which has now led to the map that Maru has in this notebook, and information about this so-called vault.
You also do get the feeling that is as much as he could provide to her, just based on pointing the location. For the rest, he just seems to be a simple silk trader.
Or what it is, but it is quite clear that this is a vault or a storage facility of some sorts for banned books and perhaps other things.
So what do we do?
We go there.
Now?
Yeah, I mean, why wait?
We can tell them that we're gonna go into hiding directly.
I mean, we do have to split in 2 groups. One group can go there.
Yeah. It should be us.
In the last chapter, it does say that Maru thinks it is rather dangerous from what she's heard of Valeric, and that she could never do it alone.
We could also tell Virgo or Margot or both. I mean, they do care about Maru, and maybe they know something about this. And if they decide not to help, we just
Yeah, and what if they take
it?
What if they
Eli,
take the map?
make me an insight check with advantage, I'd say, because you've known Virgo for a long time.
Or the journals?
That is going to be a 24.
Wow. You immediately believe that Vanity's first idea was rather clever, in that Virgo is now on edge, and usually when that is the case, she will shoot down any idea that comes with risk. Especially now.
I'm not anyone to advocate lying at this moment in time.
But you're saying we should lie.
I've seen Virgo and known her for many years, and I think in this matter, maybe the less she knows, the better.
Then let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Any sort of clue is
It's something. So, when do we leave?
right here.
Right now?
As you yeehaw from the window.
Okay, how about this? We all go back to our rooms, pack our stuff. We're gonna...
Jessica, anything that you suggest to Virgo at this moment in time is not going to be in any way satisfactory to her set of mind.
We just leave. I think if we leave and then we just give a bird a letter.
If our family were to find out that we left without saying anything,
Let me take care of it. I'll talk to Virgo.
Okay, so as you all climb down the ladder and go to your respective rooms for preparing, Vanity, you take the wheel.
Yes, I go down to Virgo.
So you go to your study downstairs and you see her packing some things up on her desk. You don't know what she's doing with it, and she doesn't respond to you entering.
Hello, dear.
Hi, Vanity.
Already packing?
She grabs a haversack of sorts, a small one where she's put some stuff in.
A haversack?
A haversack of sorts, yeah. A knapsack, yeah. Just a small ute bag.
Yeah.
She then walks up to you and gives you a big hug. And then says, "You don't need to tell me. I had to know I was crying. Take this. You'll need it."
Yes. I take it.
There's some arcane components in there if you need it. Just be safe. Thank you for trying.
We'll be off soon then.
I'll wait. And I'll keep a close eye on you.
Vanity turns to leave to the door and then stops. And then turns back and gives Virgo a hug. And sheds a little bit of tears and says, "I'm so sorry for everything, and I'm so sorry for lying, and
It's
and
all
I-
right.
I'm
We've
so
all
sorry
lied.
we weren't here to help, and I'm really sorry."
Vanity, I'm glad that we're on a path again, at least. Let's keep going.
Yes.
I'm sorry I'm not one to always show my emotions perfectly. But it's more Margot's strong suit, but
But you've always made me feel so welcome here. Even though you were a little bit stern. We'll be back soon.
From the corner pops a small yet blonde-haired head and says, "Sorry, don't want to burst your bubble, but we don't have a cart anymore. It's gonna take very long by foot."
no worries, Margie. And Virgo kind of wipes her tears and then gently caresses your shoulder, Vanity, gives you a warm glance as she just walks past, and then takes her spell book and walks outside. And you will hear this clacking of Virgo's heels as she opens the front door.
You all at the same time try to sort of, as teenagers, trying to sneak outside of the house and throw backpacks against the walls, sort of like trying to sneak out from your mothers.
And then you see, as Virgo is stepping outside, she briskly steps off the steps leading to the front garden, pushes her glasses further up her nose, and flicks decisively through her small spell tome. She looks around and her eyes land on part of the mansion on the west wing that has been under construction for a while, Margot's new greenhouse. Wooden beams and partially built, unpainted wall pieces lie everywhere as Virgo walks in that direction. She mutters a few words in arcane tongue, and with a quick flick of her hands, part of the wooden beams start to tear off suddenly and start floating in midair.
Part of the whole balcony of sort of the house just crumbles down. It just goes as this wood just collapses, and you hear Margot go, "Oh, I would have loved a conversation about that."
Sorry, Margot, no time to waste. Then more and more of the wooden materials coalesce in midair as Virgo keeps to this incantation as she slowly starts to fabricate a new wooden cart from the rough materials, calculating dimensions and mechanical requirements as she goes. This is high-level magic. Then only in about 30 seconds there stands a brand new, fully functional, though yet unpainted cart made of Margot's greenhouse.
Well, guess I'll start again with building the greenhouse. That's fine. Can do it. Did it multiple times already. Great.
Then Virgo turns towards you and says, "Those items in those knapsacks, they're one-time uses. Please use them wisely. But I have all faith in you, and I'll be keeping a close eye to see if when something goes wrong. Please promise me, though, get out as soon as things seem truly troublesome, and watch for Imperial soldiers. If there are legionnaires armed with artifice, never underestimate their range of fire. And please gauge and analyze the risks before acting."
We will be waiting here, welcoming the others when they get back with the other cart, I suppose.
I won't let you down, I promise.
Thank you.
We know you won't.
Thank you, mothers. Really, really.
It's okay. You're all so terribly sweet. Now, be quick.
And as Virgo goes in the house, she just gently brushes the shoulder of Eli and says, "I'm sorry for before, old friend." Hello everyone, we're taking a small intermission and I just wanted to let you all know that these episodes are made possible by our patrons over at patreon.com/DNDQNL, all letters DNDQNL. We really couldn't make this type of content if it weren't for those people backing us every month over at Patreon. Right now, everyone backing us on Patreon is getting shoutouts by their favorite characters from our cast, as well as receiving episodes early. So these podcasts that you're listening to now have already been available to Patreon users for a while now. Finally, our patrons always get a pre-sale so that they can be the first to get tickets for our new live shows whenever there's one available again. This way, they'll make sure they have a ticket because they always sell out so fast. So if you want to support the channel or help us further, or if you even just like the content that we're putting out in this way, please consider supporting us on Patreon because it really, really makes a world of difference. And to those already backing us on Patreon, thank you so much. You're amazing.
When this is for later, but when you return to Maru's place later, you find that Ruddy has placed a little wooden chicken next to Maru.
I think Jessica grabs a few spellbooks. Because like, she's so hyped right now, she's like, you know what?
What
I'm taking
spellbooks?
all of them. I know, spellbooks with all kinds of different spells in them. She's gonna like learn on...
Okay, do you sneak into Virgo's room?
You. Come on. Oh! It's 17 plus, I think, 4.
Okay, as you enter her room quietly, Virgo's not there, it seems. And you go towards her desk, and as you're sneaking around, you're sure, like, oh, this is so good, she'll never know. And you grab the smallest spellbook that she has, which is more of a cantrips book, and something for low-level spells, something of forces a day spells, which you take with you silently, don't see her anywhere, and then quickly get out. And then you don't notice this, but as you leave, invisibility drops of Virgo in that room as she just smiles warmly of the notebook that she put in the middle of the desk.
Clearly labeled.
Yeah.
Note, poor Jessica.
Yeah.
Okay.
I felt like a spy.
So let's narrate this journey. So as you travel east, the weather treats you kindly as you go. But about 2 hours into your journey, the fact hits you that you've not traveled this way in a long, long time, perhaps even more. But hope has filled you once more. This part of Doran, mostly desolate since the Great War, neighbors the fine line, the desolate borderlands, so closely that an intuitive sense of danger still kind of pervades it. Then you start seeing in the distance to your left, faintly at first in muted yellow colors, then more clearly as the Dorney's northern mountains make way behind you. And it is a hopeful sign for you, Eli. As you see long stretching yellow fields of flax, sparse clumps of white ash trees with no leaves, and patches of barren, though not as much as before. Desolate land, as far as the eye can see, has made way for a little bit of life, as the fine line is recovering ever so slightly. And in the far, far distance on the horizon, shrouded in mist, you can see the faint outline of the Rust Mountains of the Republic of Montclair, your home. You can't help but feel a little bit saddened by the burden of history that still hangs over this haunted place, especially after what you've learned in the last couple of days. Make me a perception check with advantage.
$23.
That's really good. You see in the distance, not too far from here, maybe like 100 meters, just on the edge of the fine line as you're traveling just around it, you see a poster nailed to one of the white ash trees that stands in these flax fields on the borderlands, and it seems to have a writing on it, but you can't make it out from this distance, of course. Do you get closer?
I would like to. That depends on whether my sisters are going to allow me to do so, of course. My elf eyes see something in the distance. A sign or poster of some kind on a tree.
Here, out here.
Well, yes. I mean, it might be worth checking it out.
Well, go ahead.
Sure, let's go.
So as you steer the cart with the donkey ever so slightly, it's very close. You get on the yellow flax fields just ever so slightly, and it smells strangely wonderful here. And as you get closer, you see that written in Elvish as well as in Common. It has an elven rhyme on the poster, which actually is quite peculiar. As it's written in both languages, it seems to try and strike a wide audience. And the rhyme says, and you know this very well, it is a traditional Elvish rhyme since the Great War. Without a sound, this hallowed ground sings songs of loss and woe. Yet ash and grime shall
Shall dew decline, and from it rust will show.
And for the rest of you, it seems almost as if this is meant like a warning of such, more like a warning that the fine line and the people of Montclair will rise again. But it's not aggressive. More hopeful.
You know, in Montclair, we believe that when someone's essence leaves their body, they descend back into the world again. People who have had a powerful presence in this world in their physical forms have a powerful presence in the nature as well.
So, fall of the evening comes relatively early in these autumn days of Toussaint. As the sun starts to slowly begin its descent down the horizon, you're getting rather close to the X on the map that Maru had from Valric. As you coast further and further to the mountain ranges in the east, you've perhaps only got 2 or 3 hours of sunlight left to track any signs of life going to and from this hidden Empire facility, a vault of sorts. Who is going to make me a survival check? Because this is tracking.
I will cast guidance on her.
That is good. So Ruddy is going to roll survival check, which Ruddy is very good at.
And I'm assisting, so that gives advantage.
So you can roll with advantage and plus 1d4, Ruddy.
Advantage.
Oh, advantage. 13, 15.
That DC, what's the DC that you needed? So after searching wildly for over an hour, you try to see if there's any tracks, because this is a very desolate part of Doran. So any tracks going to and fro might be a hint of sorts to what this thing is. It's hard to see because there's a lot of grasslands, and it's hard to spot any foot tracks, and there's no roads from here ever since the Great War. Most of these old roads have been destroyed or laid barren. After searching for wildly for over an hour, you suddenly notice a peculiar set of hoof prints followed by the dragging of a cart, Ruddy, and suddenly this hopeful feeling emerges inside of you. It's a very heavy cart, telling by the depth of the imprints in the hard dirt ground. You follow the tracks further southeast for a moment, until you see in the corner of your eye, hidden slightly by a rogue bush standing near the side of this old destroyed road, near these tracks. Then, hidden slightly by this rogue bush standing near the side of the road, near the tracks, it is a discarded book in between its leaves. Perhaps it fell off the cart that you're following. And as you pick it up, it reads, Tulsa and the Sea, and Other Doranese Children's Stories, and it has a large stamp on the canvas cover that reads in bold red, Vault.
I can't read.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I've been telling you this. I cannot read, but I give it to Vanity.
And Vanity. Oh, this is a children's storybook, but it reads Vault, so I think we're on the right tracks. Let's follow them.
As you look further ahead along this destroyed road, these tracks seem to lead towards the mountainside, separating Dorne from Alberia, and into a small forest of hanging willow trees. It is dusk right now, so the evening is nearing very quickly, and the trees of these woods hang ominously in the evening light as the mists common to the Doranese provinces start to creep around it at this hour, which is a very natural thing. It is starting to get darker and darker, so you must make a choice. Follow the path in the hopes of finding this facility at night, or rest for the night.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go in.
How many of you can actually see in the dark?
Me.
Well...
Jessica and Ruddy don't have dark vision, but Eli and Vanity do. So, you start to maneuver your way through the edge and then through the center of this dense willow thicket in the darkness of this evening, trying your best to follow the path further towards this hidden location that you seek. Would like you to make another survival roll. Say with Vanity still assisting. Are you using guidance?
I will cast guidance, indeed.
20. Not natural.
So in the dark, Ruddy, you are a master tracker. So you follow these tracks as you did with the herd a lot when you were younger. And after about 10 minutes of walking through this increasing darkness, the wind increasing in strength and coldness, you see a faint candlelight in the distance then, hanging between the hanging willow trees. It does not seem to be moving, and as you stare more carefully, you can see that it is coming from behind a window, from an unlit building in the distance. As your eyes adjust to the darkness, you start to see jutting, church-like towers line the walls of this building. And I would say Eli and Vanity also see this with their dark vision. A large slanted roof that lies over 3 stories of Alberian Empire architecture, hidden deep in this willow forest, and a small wall surrounding the entire thing, covered in overgrown briar roots, creeping vines, and leafless trees, unable to flourish in the dry, dusty ground surrounding this building. Though the building isn't immense in any sense of the word, its halls seem to be toweringly high, almost like that of a small cathedral, though you can't make out the full size of it all in this darkness. Further along the path, as you get closer and closer, you see there's a thick wooden door that grants entry further along through the wall into a barely lit courtyard that serves as an entry for whatever this place is.
Does it seem guarded?
So, Vanity, you try and look to see if it's guarded. And what is very noticeable is maybe because it is a very desolate place, you are literally in the middle of nowhere, you see that it isn't really guarded as much as you would think of a secret place.
You see what seems to be one singular Alberian soldier, but roughly dressed in chainmail armor and this green and white Empire tabard, But she has a rather weak... Actually, make me an insight check, Vanity.
Yes.
Can I cast guidance on her?
How many guidances do you have?
As many as I want. It's a
It's a
cantrip.
cantrip. Oh yeah, of course. I forgot. Well, thanks for the guidance. 12.
You can see, as you try and engage this individual, her posture is really weak, and she leans on a pike that stands lazily in the dirt ground. She's very tired. It's rather late, and she's only lit by this small lantern that hangs from the gate, which you now assume, because you have dark vision and you know how this works, she's staring into pure darkness beyond that small lantern which illuminates her. So this is definitely not a high security place. Furthermore, again, she seems tired and perhaps waiting for someone to take over her night shift. And above the door, in big metal lettering, it reads, "The Vault of Lies."
All right. Wait here.
What do you mean, wait?
Just wait here. And she uses Mask of Many Faces to transform herself into a guard.
An Iberian soldier.
Yes.
So Vanity just slides off the cart very easily, and with one wave of her hand over her face, her visage is completely changed. And your outfit, I assume, is going to be that of an Iberian soldier.
Yes, with slight hints of pink.
You succeed magnificently.
Thank you.
As you see Vanity walking and then a shimmering of pinkish energy as suddenly there walks an Iberian soldier, perfectly copied. So you walk up to the other guard.
Yes.
As you get relatively close, the guard doesn't seem to see you, but pipes up, "Here's something." Waits for a moment.
I'm here to take over your shift.
Damn.
She looks and squints her eyes at you and then sees you faintly in the distance. You get the feeling that these humans are very bad in these circumstances with no moonlight or whatsoever. And she looks at you and says, "Oh, thank the Chantry, finally."
Yeah. I stay kind of in the
In the darkness.
yeah, a little bit like in the yes.
Well, you know what to do, right?
Of course I do. Yes.
Okay, well, good night. And she instantly goes behind the door, shuts it back behind her, and she's gone.
All right.
And she just leaves this swinging lantern light in the front. You get the feeling that nobody ever comes here.
Okay, I just wait there for a little bit. About enough time for her to just get to her room.
You can probably look through the keyhole because it's rather big in this big gate.
Yes,
and you
that's
see
what I would
her
do.
walking through this courtyard in dark light, and she's already like, and as she's walking into this large cathedral doors, you see these large hallways in between,
Yes.
but they're very dimly lit. You get the feeling that you could use this night to your advantage. Absolutely.
Stealthily, I join you.
Well, nice job.
Shall we go in?
Yeah.
According to Maru's journal, she assumed it not to be so safe. And up until now, I don't spot any particular dangers, but that does not mean they are not around any corners.
I mean, that's very fair. Maybe.
By the way, I didn't mention it, but in the ute sack, the haversack that you got from Virgo, are 2 potions. One which is a regular healing potion, and one that is labeled with Detect Thoughts, which is a brew that is very specifically Virgo's making.
Alrighty then.
So, how are you going to get into this facility? Are you going to go through the front gate? Or are you trying to go look for another opportunity? What are you doing?
I would like to see if I can just take a look around and see if there looks to be any extra entrances or maybe a wall that could be scaled or anything. Do we have any adventuring packs with us? Like ropes or anything like that?
Make me either, and the result of what you can get is different. So make me either an investigation or a perception check.
Well, baby doll, I'm going to do a perception check then. Since that's a 24.
Whoa.
Okay, well, after filling the parameters for a bit, Eli, you see that several windows have less dirty, rusted hinges and some rotting wood. So these are quite unstable windows that could perhaps be, I don't know, removed quite silently. Well, the building has not been renovated in a very long time, so it's pretty old and shabby. And it shows clear signs of structural decay. And small little sub-buildings sort of come out of the main body of the building, as it were. And they have small little roofs on which you could climb up to a second level if you would want to. That you saw previously still seems to be burning in one of the main halls.
Well, we don't necessarily have to barge in through the front door. We could probably, with a little bit of effort, scale onto the roofs, and those windows look pretty rusted. We could probably, well, maybe not so silently, bust one open and...
I'm confused. Why wouldn't we walk through the front door?
I was thinking the same thing.
Because sometimes you want to take a more stealthy approach.
But why? It's literally open and no one's guarding it.
The fact you don't know what's inside this facility. You get the feeling that because it's night, it's been very, and they don't expect anyone to know that this is here. You get the feeling from your interaction with the guard. You get the feeling that it's very sparsely guarded, but you've no idea on what's on the inside.
I think if you get inside and like you're going through a route that they think is kind of safe because someone's guarding the front door, they'll have their guards lowered. Let's go for the door.
I would like to say to our audience that I very strongly disagree with this idea.
So you're still disguised as an Alberian soldier. Yeah. So you start walking, although everyone following this Alberian guard. One thing to note, though, that might be relevant: Eli is an elf.
Oh yeah.
Who is not disguised.
I go to Eli and disguise Eli with my disguise kit.
Okay, so you give Eli this pinkish, this blonde pinkish Alberian wig, and you block his eyebrows. You drapes him in like a tunic, like a greenish tunic, but Eli comes out of this looking rather human. All the green hair
rather
is
sickening.
blocked or painted. He looks human, and it's really weird to look at someone like this.
I don't feel great about this.
So as you're standing there, I would like you to roll me a stealth group check. So everyone roll me stealth.
I had a...
Don't say it! Don't say it!
I had a 1.
She made an oopsie.
Whoopsie. What did you have, Jessica? 16 for Jessica. What does Eli have?
A dirty 20.
A dirty 20. And what does Ruddy have?
A dirty 17.
Okay. Lucky for you, Vanity, you open the door and you kind of stumble over it because you didn't really notice that there was an incline. And you kind of stumble in the front door and you see one other guard who is patrolling these hallways, kind of look towards you, what the? And then see you, and says, on your way. And then moves along further in the hallway, and all of you like look from the doorway, like peeking out, head. So just Eli on the bottom, I think Jessica then in the middle, and Ruddy on the top of it, like heads peeking across the door. As you're looking in, is it safe? And it's absolutely silent in here. So as you step foot inside the Vault of Lies, all of you, you notice immediately that this eerie silence hangs in its halls. It must be past regular sleeping hours for the guard of this place, because you don't hear any life in here, not even anymore the guard that passed you a little while ago, though there is a firelight burning further in these halls. There are 3 halls. There's one straight forward, there's one left and then right, and then there's one right and then left. So it's a trident hallway. You see that these are not necessarily separated rooms from what you expected, and more of an immense multi-storied hallway with open walls, balconies from which you can look at higher and lower levels, and walkways that connect them. This looks like almost like a palace hall. All of the walls are made of this white-colored stone, and the floors are made from a beautiful but very old and weathered checkered stone in muted green and white Alberian colors. And there are Alberian-style pillars everywhere, and Empire banners hanging all along the walls, though there are no other decorations of any sort, so this place looks either like the nicest prison facility ever or the most poorly managed palace you've ever seen. You're on the ground floor, looking up and down. There's one story above you, and you notice quite quickly that across the ceiling stands an immense fresco that says "Non feram mendatio," harbor no lies, tolerate no falsehoods. Why don't you all roll me a perception check, please, as you're trying to gauge where to go in this massive system of hallways.
13.
11.
I'm all percepted out. I'm an 8.
Okay. Jessica, you see as the rest is kind of taken in this room, you see that faintly lit in the corners of the walls around you, you see small signs carved into the white stone walls. The one to your immediate left says incinerator. The one that goes further straight along the hallway says barracks, which is where the guard went. Or the one to your right says two things: the repository and the custodian's office.
Huh. I relate this to the group. I have no idea where to go.
Well, I imagine that going to the barracks probably isn't exactly priority number 1 right now.
Nah.
An office seems promising.
But a custodian's office?
I don't know what a custodian's office.
That's like a secretary or something like.
A custodian
like
is something like a librarian who keeps things hidden away or stowed away.
Sure, I think that sounds
Place
pretty.
to be.
So as you go to your right-hand side, in the eastern hallway of this trident formation, you go towards the repository and the custodian's office. Make me a stealth group check once more.
Oh my god. Oh, god
15.
damn it.
Yeah. And if you have
15.
15?
Finally a 20.
Oh, natural!
A natural.
So you
That's how we
all
raised you.
start sneaking
Thanks.
across this hallway, and you try not to let your footsteps echo, but this is like marble and stone floors. It's really hard. You get the feeling you're rather silent following this visage of vanity as a soldier, and you get towards this part where there are a lot of tall pillars with these inclines in the wall, almost like they're smaller rooms of sorts, along this long hallway. And then you hear a in the distance, and you hear it coming closer, almost like an animal.
I want to listen a bit like I know animals to recognize it.
You recognize this instantly. It looks like a hound of sorts.
It's a doggy.
Perhaps a search hound.
Okay. We need to be careful because
I would say as
They've
part
noses.
of your stealth, because you rolled so high, you managed to duck in between one of these inclines in these pillar walls, and you be silent for just ever so slightly, and you wait for a moment as this dog, with an armored piece on its back, starts to make its way, sniffing. It's like a bloodhound through this hallway, and it just misses you. You get the feeling. And you wait for a moment as it passes, as it just stops, looks back to where it came from, and starts panting, as suddenly a figure stands in front of it. As you see step around the corner, also not noticing you in your very silent demeanor, a towering individual in shimmering half-plate armor and a long crimson cloak strapped tightly around her neck and shoulder. She wears the insignia of Imperial Legionnaires, the Lamenting Legion, the elite ground troops of the Empire, yet she breaks from the traditional color codes. Even more so, instead of a traditional plate helmet with an intimidating visor of these legionnaires, you can actually see her face partially through a dark leather head cover, which reveals her stoic, stern gaze. In her right hand, covered in plate armor, she holds a menacing artifice rifle, and in her left arm, left completely unarmored, is instead covered from fingers to shoulder in a long crimson glove. Then the woman looks at the dog and says, "What is it, Atlas? Find something, boy?" She sniffs as well. Be on the lookout. And she whistles very loudly as it echoes through the halls, and the dog and walks through another hallway where you came from. As she walks another direction.
Hey babes! Before you continue watching, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our D&Drag Patreon, where you can help us develop this crazy show further.
It's